When actor John Leguizamo cited so-called cultural appropriation in Hollywood, Bill Maher pushed back in a funny way. John himself has done some appropriation if you look at the roles that he's been in, but for some reason we don't call that out. Let's take a listen to John's appearance on Bill Maher's podcast Club Random, released Monday.
But didn't you play some, were you Luigi?
Luigi, Super Mario Brothers, first video game.
Right.
Wasn't very successful then, but now it's become cult.
Moulin Rouge, you were...
I was Toulouse-Lautrec.
That's a great part. Right.
Incredible director. I mean, Baz Luhrmann, one of the greats. A world builder. He creates worlds. And
Romeo and Juliet?
Yes.
Right.
Tybalt.
Maher called out John for playing Luigi in Mario Brothers, Italian, Moulin Rouge, French, and of course, Romeo and Juliet. Maher remarked, quote, "I remember that because you made a comment about James Franco playing Castro, and I was like, but John, you've played all these parts who aren't Colombian."
I remember all those because you made that comment once about, like, James Franco shouldn't be playing Castro.
Yeah, he shouldn't be.
And I was like, but John, you've played all these parts of people who aren't Colombian. Why does it work one way and not the other way?
John responded that since Hollywood has historically discriminated against Hispanics, according to him, by which he means that they didn't get a lot of roles in those early days, now it's like we're making up for that discrimination by having John Leguizamo play Tybalt in Romeo and Juliet. Oh, is that what we're doing?
Why does it work one way and not the other way?
Because it hasn't worked in our favor in centuries. When the founding fathers of Hollywood came to Hollywood, it had just been Mexico 60 years prior. And they came into a predominantly Latino community that had been lynched, redlined, segregated, sterilized, Jim Crowed, and they came here and they didn't include the people into any of their movies for centuries.
Drink?
Yeah, please.
Yeah, last time I checked, Tybalt was not Hispanic. Shakespeare, of course, from England, who wrote Romeo and Juliet, which takes place in Italy, Verona, Italy to be exact, which is a real place, by the way, but it's not in Latin America. So if James Franco can't play Castro, a Cuban, you would think the same would apply to John. But that said, I think John does a wonderful job in that role, and I really enjoyed the film adaptation by Baz Luhrmann of Romeo and Juliet. Luhrmann basically put the role of the Capulets as Hispanic, besides Juliet, of course, who is played by Claire Danes, and then the roles for the Montagues were mostly played by blonde-haired white boys, with Leonardo DiCaprio cast as Romeo, of course. So it worked, but just, don't come complaining about cultural appropriation after. Once again, John Leguizamo, good job, good actor. I liked him in the role as Tybalt. He really did capture the villainy of the character who famously kills Romeo's friend Mercutio. And he put a kind of urban twist on it. When I read Romeo and Juliet, I'm almost kind of thinking of this actor as the role of Tybalt. So he really did embody the character. But it's, of course, disappointing to hear the guy's politics when he's not on the big screen. Disappointing, but maybe not that surprising. So again, stop with this woke nonsense, because if cultural appropriation is a crime, you are guilty, sir.